Hello, this is Shrike. I am just making this quick video to show you how to set up the transforming key to volley I've made. It's a bit kind of involved or complex compared to setting up a normal avatar. It's because of the whole, collar system, which was kind of created by Benay 9, and then I adapted it a bit, improved it some, and then set it up on the key to volley, like so. So if I take this off, you'll see that gradually I'll lose my colors and then become just a generic nobody. But you just put it back on and you're back to yourself again. Even has a dissolve for the extra wing layer. And the extra hair too, but I don't have an avatar with that set up with it, so I'm gonna take my word on it. Of course, the neat thing is that if I grab this Diwali here, also my transforming Diwali, I do need to update it, but it will be compatible with this current version of the collar. So I take my collar off and put it on here. And you'll see that I have my Diwali texture set up on it as well, so it takes on my Diwali textures here. Just grab it back, become myself again. Oop. My wings just popped back into existence there because it wasn't quite finished transforming. That'll happen if you're too fast. Anyway, actually I'm just gonna get rid of the Diwali. We don't need it. So basically, if you're seeing this, you probably already have access to the folder with the transforming key Diwali in the first place, because that's where it's going to be. I post this video on Discord and everything though, so if you don't already have it, just ask me for it. I can send it your way and everything. Here, let me pull it up on my end and actually show you it. Where's it? Switch to smooth POV and show private UI. So in my inventory here, you see I have the TF key Diwali folder. It has a few things in it. There's two different avatars along with two different public folders. I have my public folder here, which is my, my overall public folder in case you don't already have that. It can be kind of helpful just to, get it because I have my accessories folder in there and everything. If you want to keep up to date on stuff I published, then just save that to your own inventory. I also have the link to the TF collars folder in here. This is kind of important because we're going to get those collars to set up. As for the two avatars, there's the SE plus MVS version, and then the just SE version. If you don't know what MVS is, you don't need to worry about this one. You just grab the SE one without a care. If you do know what MVS is, make sure you grab this one if you want it, because kind of it's integrated and everything. You don't want to have to set it up yourself. Okay, for the tutorial, I am going to spawn out the SE and MVS version. Just grab it here. Then you're going to need a dev tool as well. If you don't already have one, you're not quite sure how to get it, you go to your basic inventory. Look for this Essentials Tools folder. It's in there. And it's this kind of golden, pointy looking thing near the end of the list. Double click on it to spawn one out. Click on it, equip, and there you go. And you can just point at the avatar. And then hit your secondary action. On index controllers, it's your touchpad. On other controllers, it's usually just pressing your joystick. Now select the avatar, open your context menu, and open Inspector. You probably also want to get out one of those collars, so I'm just going to go back and grab one of those now. Again, if you had a TF key Diwali folder, it'll have a link to that collar folder in there. I'll just grab the normal one here. There's a few kinds. These are just alternate textures. I made this white and purple texture for someone. They didn't use it, so I decided to just publish it. So there you go. There's also kind of rubber ones that kind of have set up with a bit of a shiny specular to it, in case you want a rubbery texture. People like that. Anyway, here we go with the basic collar. I'm going to select that as well and open Inspector for that too. And just move it to the side because we don't quite need it in our way. Actually, we'll turn off private UI. Don't need to show that anymore. So and then on each of these, go back up to the root. You can do that by clicking this kind of left arrow here. Also take a note that my inspectors do look a bit different because they're purple, but they are the default inspector overall, so the buttons are the same between mine and the default ones. In case you did what I just did, this is already on the root. If you go back up to the root of your world or whatever, just hit this button here and it'll switch you back to the collar if you're already on it. And just had a brain fart like me. As well, this line's in my way, so I'm just going to deselect all to get rid of that line. then on the not the color side, on the avatar side, you'll see some slots here: center grid, proxies, materials, name badge, logics, avatar settings, and avatar controls menu. All you really care about for the most part is materials and settings. There's a few things you might want to adjust in the center grid. I'll talk about that in a moment. The materials list all the materials for the avatar. These are the default ones, which are kind of used when you don't have a collar on. So like, see right here. Okay, let me get a light. Hold on. Yeah, my world's a bit dark. I really need to improve that. There we go. Lighting. Okay, so in the material slot here, you see all the different materials with the default textures on this avatar. You have the default main, eyes, feathers here, extra wings, and then the whisper bubble. So if you look in here, you'll notice right away this is a bit different than normal, because in the albedo texture slot, I have this kind of weird transparency texture here. Well, the normal texture you'd expect is in the detail albedo slot. That's because this weird transparent texture handles the transformation effect. So when you want to put a texture on, you put it in the detail albedo texture field there for the default ones. Like here, off to the side, I have my own textures. There we go. There's my main one. So if I grab the main texture here and click on detail albedo, you'll see it shows my texture there. I don't actually want to do that for this, so I'm going to undo, and it goes back to normal. Yeah, so if you want to change the default textures, you do it that way. Go through these materials here on the avatar and change the detail albedo slot. You also put in your emissions too, like if I want to grab my body emissions here. There they are. I can throw that emission in there, emissive map in there, and then turn this to white. You'll see I get my emissions on it. Let's see. The whisper bubble material you don't really need to mess with. These colors are driven automatically. And also, you may notice under default feathers, there's wings. Don't worry about that. These are all taken from the feathers material. The wings are their own material just to handle some quirks of the transformation. So just go to the main eyes, feathers here, and extra wings. Okay, another cut just to catch my breath there. So now that I've looked at materials, we can go on to the avatar settings. We'll go on here and double click settings itself. Oops, I was already on there, but I had to do a take there. Don't mind me. I'm going to turn back on my private UI first, just so I can demonstrate something. You'll see his first setting here, use literal whisper bubble, if I can actually say anything. That's just a little quirk I add to my avatars. So you'll see here in the mirror, if I go in my menu and turn on my whisper setting here, my whisper mode, I get this bubble around me. It's a little bit jiggly and everything. I just put that on my public avatars too, just as a kind of trademark. Hey, this was made by Shrike thing. If you want that, you can leave it on by default. If you don't, you can turn it off, and then you'll get the normal one. Here, if I actually select myself, I can demonstrate that. And turn that off. And now if I go back to Whisper, I just have the fuzzy purple one. There's also the transformation speed. You can kind of leave it as is. This just affects how fast or slow the transformation is. 0.125 is the default, which I think matches up to the Diwali's one. Okay, sorry, I had to do a little cut there because I realized something weird. This is turned on by default. It should not be turned on by default. I'm going to resave these with that turned off. This last setting here, hide tool shells in hand. You'll see like I don't have any tool shells visible. Again, it'll probably be easier if I just select if I get the proper tool. Yeah, I don't need to. I have own tools. Don't mind them. I like them. Let's see. If I go to avatar settings, here we go. Hide tool shells in hands. You see it's enabled. I don't have any tool shells visible, but if I click there, you'll see it just comes out of my hand. It's actually there. It's just hidden. By default, I'll have them turned off so you do see them. And it'll just kind of just on top of the hand there. But if you don't want to see them, turn it on. They go away. They're sitting in the hand. Still use them. Everything's good. Let's see. So those are kind of the basic settings here. Okay, sorry about that kind of hard cut there. I ran into a bug which I had to just quickly fix. Something wasn't working right, and now it does. So yeah, I can get back to just going on with these colors here. Anyway, so I've gone on to the default basic colors. And you'll see the first one here, default avatar color, is pretty important. It's used to drive about 3 things on the avatar. Maybe more, I feel like I'm forgetting one. But I know at least drives the name, the color of your controls menu, and your whisper bubble. Again, I cannot say the word of the things which are floating around my world, as you can see, and which I kind of built my whole identity on. You know, words are going to be words. Anyway, I'm just going to get into this after here to demonstrate the effect of that variable. Shove myself away and bring this with me. So you see my name is blue right now, and go away. My name is blue. If I go in here and change this to like green, you'll see it'll turn green. And if I go back to blue and go into my whisper bubble, you'll see this is blue too. And again, I can change this to like, I don't know, red. And it's going to transition to red as well. And you see the menu is also changed. And, oh no, it's going back to blue. I thought I was going to white and I was very confused. But don't mind me. Oh, I wasn't showing my private UI, but yeah, I showed about how to turn on Whisper earlier anyway. The second option here is default visor color. I do support a snapper for the original Diwali visor on here. Where is it? I'm trying to find it in my folders. I want to make a modified version that properly fits the key Diwali, but that'll have to come later. So yeah, this is the Diwali visor. It snaps on. Again, I can go to my mirror, you can see it's not quite perfect, but it'll have to do. And this color here is the thing that drives that. I think I can turn it to green, and I'll go to green. And again, these are all just the basic default values to drive it when you don't have a collar on. The collar has their own variables for all these, which I'll get to in a moment. I'll just kind of speed run through those because they're pretty much do the same thing as the ones on here. Let's see, and then also in avatar settings, you'll see this default extra wing / hair visibility slot. This is kind of important for the key Diwali here. It enables the visibility of those extra wings and the extra hair. Like, okay, I can turn them on right now, both of them. You'll see they'll gradually just fade into existence. They're not textured by default because they don't have any default textures. They weren't released with any. I mean, I suppose you could use the default Diwali ones for the hair because they come from the Diwali, but they wouldn't match the default key Diwali texture, so whatever. Yeah, so if you want those on by default, turn those on. If not, leave them off. So the MVS variables here, I'll just glance at them briefly. Again, if you know what these do, we can mess with them. If not, I'm just going to move on. Probably already get ideas by looking at what they're called. Don't have to worry about that. I'm not going to talk about it. Not here. See, that's pretty much it as far as like setting up. I had to go in there earlier. As far as setting up the kind of avatar itself goes, I'm going to remove these. Actually, I'm going to go back to myself. Turn the mirror off. There's a few other things I might mention quickly here. Like if I go down into centered root, go down to all the way to the head and head snappers. There's the common glasses target here. This is something I've been kind of setting up for myself. If I grab these glasses here and put them on, you'll see it kind of takes these orange color here for the lettering on the side and the tint on the glasses when looking at it from an angle. You can go in here to do this glasses color under head snappers, common glasses target settings. And you can just mess with that to change what color those are if you want to use these glasses and want to mess with that color. They're not affected by the collar or anything. It's just their own thing. I believe that's it as far as stuff to point out on the avatar. So I'm going to go back through things. Yeah. If you need adjusted near clipping for any reason, that's under the head proxy. It's at 0.07 by default, so kind of set a bit farther back in the head just to keep it a bit more stable. But if you need to, you can change this. I don't advise setting it too low, otherwise you can get... Well, I'm not even in that avatar. Otherwise you can get some weirdness going on. I'm not sure how visible this will be on the... Yeah, let me get a tool. Because I deleted my standalone tool. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure how visible this will be on the stream. Oh, wait, not this shade in the video. Why is it all blurry? Huh, I hope that's not... Let me set it back and see if that fixes the video. Yep, it does. Okay, so if you set it too low, weirdness is going to happen. That's just the way it goes. I don't know why the video went blurry from setting it low, but... Yeah. In the VR, you'll just see weird black stuff kind of inside of your head, basically. That's it for the avatar. I'm just going to go through the collar here. The collar has kind of 3 different folders and notes: share configuration, Diwali, and key Diwali. Share configuration doesn't have anything on itself, as the basic colors are very similar to the ones I went on here. There's the visor color and the avatar color. These override the ones you have set on the avatar when you put the collar on. Also the leash collar, which is a kind of legacy one from Benane's original collar. If you have his collar and snap it onto his leash and snap it onto the collar, like, let me grab the leash. This is the leash, and here's the collar. Snap it on here. Oops. And it's not going to go orange because it's not on the avatar, but when it does go on the avatar, you'll see the leash is orange too. That's just what that does. There's the name font. By default, this is the default one I have on the collar now. If you get a new one, you can just kind of take the URL from it, drop it in there. Or you can put the font itself on here and drop the font in the variable here. These are the crystal mask colors. These are only for the Diwali. I don't have a mask version for the key Diwali or anything yet. We had like the mask base, cracks, and eyes. If you use a Diwali, you can look at those. I might make a different video for the Diwali once I update it. MVS variables, again, these override the ones that are in the avatar by default. Okay, sorry, getting for another hard cut. I ran into another bug I had to fix. Anyway, go on to this last slot here, hide collar when worn. You'll see that if I put the collar on here, by default it's actually visible, as you'd expect. If I turn this on though, it goes invisible. Yet if I take it off, it comes back visible again. Just a little thing if you want to have the collar with other stuff set up on it, but don't actually appear to have a collar, like if you have some other neck accessory or something, then you can just use that. Under the key Diwali configuration here, again, nothing on that slot, and you don't have to worry about all that, but under the key Diwali TF textures, this is where you put your actual textures that the collar provides when it's worn on the avatar. You can see you have your main, eyes, feathers here, extra hair, and extra wings. All the same as the default ones. So again, if I choose my main one here, putting my own texture on there, my own emissions. I imported all my textures there for this tutorial, but I'm not actually going to put them all on here, I don't think. Maybe I will, just to show you how to do it. So I've got those. I think this is the same one. I'm providing this with this specular map just to get some shine, this dumb stuff. It's the same one, whatever. Also, you're going to notice by default, these are all 4Ks because that's how I exported from Substance Painter. You might want to resize them. There's a few ways to do that. One way you can do it, grab a texture, pull it out, pull your trigger. You get this. Longest side, set to maybe 2K, which would be 2048. Resize. Wait a moment. It might say 256 there, it just goes through them and doesn't always refresh on here. You might go to a different slide and go back in there. Now it's 2K. Now save some size while you're have like a bunch of textures on here from both the key to volley and the volley. And go on to my eyes. I don't know why I grabbed the emission there. I use just my albedo for the emissive map too. Now for my eyes, I don't actually need that one. I do need this though. Oh, was that on there by default? May need to update the colors to remove that. Feathers are this one. Okay, yeah, actually this one here, before I go on, this one's a bit different. Because of some quirks getting how the TF works, the Feathers has this kind of transparent TF layer in here too for the albedo. So you're going to have to drop your feathers in the detail albedo, even on the collar. Everything else can go in the same spot as you would expect though. Oop. Actually, I shouldn't do that. That's a modded feature. Change color, you just go in here to do that. I know I have a feather specular. I'm going to clean all that up later. Here. That's my emissive, actually. This is the texture. And oh, that's my extra feathers. You do use the extra wings. The extra wings and extra here have the same thing as with the feathers, in that they have the TF transparency layer on here. So again, you just need to shove your own textures in the... Oh, which one's which? In the detail one. If you're not sure which is which, select it. It'll show you the name of the file right there. This is my emissions. This is my albedo. And I have this big mess here, which is just, I'll clean it up after. So now, I'm going to want to turn on, oh yeah, the wings / hair visibility here. I'm going to want to turn on show extra wings because I do use them myself. And now if I shove this on here, you'll see I take my own textures. Now I still don't have the proper color or anything because like you see this is orange. For my avatar color I'd want purple, whatever. I can just do that later. I don't need to go through setting up my own avatar for this video. I'm just giving you the basic idea how to do things. Just a quick kind of look in the Diwali configuration. You'll see the Diwali textures are here too. Those are all as you'd expect. Just shove them in the albedo texture. You'll do fine. I do have kind of blank emission maps here for the Diwali's patterns by default, so you can just change the colors easily if you want those emissions. I want to get ones for the key Diwali. Don't have them right now. Might add them later. You also have the latex warmers in here because I do include some warmers on the Diwali by default. I did make ones for the key Diwali. I haven't put them on here because I might sell them. I don't know yet. I might not sell them also. I don't know yet. I'll figure it out later. Things will be updated. That's just how things go. That is pretty much it though. Doing over all that, you can set up your own transforming key Diwali. And if you want, transforming Diwali too. Shove the textures in here. Then when you put them on a Diwali, you'll get your Diwali textures. It's nice if you have kind of different versions of the avatars for the Diwali and key Diwali both, like I do. And then you can just kind of just go back and forth. That's pretty much it though. I've shown you how to do all that. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. You'll notice that I am indeed a Neos mentor right there. So yeah, I'm always open for questions if you have any or need help getting into the game or setting things up. That's it. Bye. I lied. That was not in fact it, because I just realized I should probably just go over a few other things quickly. I forgot I had that there. We don't need to worry about that. Get rid of that tool. I just want to quickly go over just kind of some things with the controls in here. I include this control menu by default with the TF Keto Volley, the SE edition. If minimal editions of my avatars don't have it, but the Keto Volley for now doesn't have a minimal one just because it's already so integrated and set up. Yeah, I just kind of have some things in there. Upright stuff if people tilt you while you're in no clip, you can do that to untilt yourself. Customizations, you can kind of fold and unfold your wings. Also just hide the wings completely. Both the main and extra layer. This is a cool effect. This kind of cycles your scale. By default, scale is 0.6 for a volley. You go to 1, or even go tiny at 0.1 if you want. Whatever you want. Protections. People are bothering you, you can turn anti-anchor on if you don't want to be grabbed. Turn knockback on if you don't want to be knocked back. Turn size lock on and set your size here if you don't want to be resized. So I have, hold on, let me fix my scale. Whoop, there we go. And there's accessories lock here too, which I added. That way, if you get accessories from my folders, I'll fix that one so that one works with it. If you don't want people grabbing your accessories, you can turn that on. Then they can't grab them off, like this watch here, which I can no longer grab. I'll fix the collar. That's another bug. I'll fix it after this. And kill your full body trackers. If they die or whatever and you're stuck in a weird pose, you can just kill them there. I don't want to kill them now because I'm fine. System toggles, you have flight. Flight will be default on for the public ones. That kind of just lets you hold your arms out, pull both triggers at the same time, sweep, and then you fly. In fact, I should probably switch back to third person for this. And fly. This guy's kind of fun. I can fly out into the void here. See my small home. Oop. Fly over the invisible wall I have and land back down. And back to smooth POV. Locomotion switch. So this will kind of go into my HUD feature. You may have noticed I have this head view here. If you don't want that, take your left hand on your context menu button, like the one that opens this here. Hold that down for a moment and it'll go away. Do it again and it comes back. Just a convenient shortcut there. I like it just to see like what my head is doing, make sure my mouth is working. People mess with me, people steal my glasses, I'll know right away. That sort of thing. Let's see, and that's right, yeah, locomotion switch. Locomotion switch is another feature. If you double tap the right context menu button, you'll switch into no clip really fast. Then go back to walk. If you have flight on, you'll kind of spin as you fall. That's a kind of quirk with the flying system. You can use this here, switch to fly if you use a locomotion switch. If you do have it set to no clip, worlds where you can't use no clip will go to fly by default. Some worlds it's bugged a bit in, like I know the MTC ones, it likes to put you in teleport instead of no clip or whatever. I need to figure out why it does that and fix it. I haven't been able to yet. I'll look into it. I can't demonstrate this, but the avatar grabbable. It's auto by default, which means people twice your scale can grab you. Like the default scale is 0.6, so people at 1.2 scale can grab you. You can also turn it off if you want, or just on completely. Yeah. Then the petting and purring system. Again, I can't really, well, I can kind of demonstrate it. Let me go into the logics here. Petting, purring, configuration, edit mode. So yeah, you see if I kind of try petting myself, it's a bit awkward. I kind of purr, my eyes close a bit. Might need to adjust the weight ranges more, but yeah, there's a little effect there. And in system toggles, this controls if it's both on, if you have it completely off, if you have just the kind of eyes closed when people pet you on, or if you have just the purring on. It just cycles through those settings. Yeah, there you go. And that's just the menu I wanted to cover. Now I am done for real. Yes, that is actually it. So yeah, goodbye. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me.